Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. I'm your host, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're going to go over a few items today to look out for at estate sales, garage sales, and thrift stores, and all kinds of fun stuff. There is a really interesting handbag bolo at the end of the video, so you definitely want to stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, please go down there, click the subscribe button, and click the bell for notifications. Let's get right into it. First up, we have this UCLA Bruins. This is a wooden, authentic, fund water polo bear here, as you can see here. And we've talked about bobbleheads before in the past, and I actually did a video on how to ship bobbleheads, and I'll post a link above if I can remember. And we've talked about bobbleheads before. Always look them up. Any price point below $5 is a pretty good price point, even if you have no way of looking bobbleheads up. If there are any of them that are under $5, just buy them. One of the things that I've said before in the past is just to open them up and make sure they're not broken because they're made out of plaster. And so sometimes they break and sometimes they're missing pieces. I wouldn't suggest buying bobbleheads loose unless the price is really good because there could be bobbleheads that are loose that are worth a ton of money, but usually, you want to keep them in the boxes, and just shipping loose bobbleheads can be a problem from time to time. Just do your research on every one of these kind of things. This one sold for $39.99. It came in with a collection of different UCLA bobbleheads, and I will say, for the most part, college bobbleheads do a little bit better than professional sports. So if you ever see college stuff, definitely look it up. Next up, we have the St. John. This is a heavy, solid gold tone bracelet. As you can see here, it has some slight wear to it, but still pretty good little bracelet here. This sold for $49.99, and this sold in our jewelry event. And just keep an eye out for St. John. Everyone pretty much knows about St. John coats and clothing and things like that. So just be on the lookout for costume jewelry from St. John. It does actually pretty well considering it's costume jewelry. You're gonna sit on it for a little while. It's not gonna sell like instantly, but you can definitely look a lot of this stuff up, and it's easy to kind of research to see what it is and what the prices are definitely go for, and especially like conditions, everything on the St. John costume jewelry. So just if you can get it at a reasonable price and it's in good condition, you can definitely sell it for some good money. Next up, we have this Nintendo Wii console. This is an untested console, as you can see here. This sold for $27 with two bids. Pretty good sale as far as like who got it on the back end. The Wii Sports alone, you can probably sell for like $10. So if you're looking for some deals, definitely go to our eBay charity shop. The link is going to be below. Definitely go and look and send us an offer if you see anything you like. But this Wii Sports can go for like $10 plus shipping alone. And, to be honest, I've been dealing with video games for a very, very, very long time. And I will say, for the most part, a lot of these machines are going to work, especially these newer ones. Now, some of the older Nintendos and some of the older, Segas and things like that, that could be, you can run into some issues. But I will say, for the most part, like Nintendo Wii's and newer, like even GameCubes for the most part work, 99% of the time. So, if you can't chest these at a garage sale or estate sale, if the price is right, I suggest picking them up, and you can easily part the parts out for sure. So this is a really cool sale for the person that got this really nice lot here. Next up, we have this Minolta. This is a Roker, a 28 millimeter lens. And you can tell, well, with lenses what they are by the covers. It'll show in the very front of the lens. It'll show you all the important information that you need. You got the f-stop, you got the aperture, and the name. And you can look basically a lot of this stuff up. Now, lenses sometimes for some people might be a little intimidating, but once you start getting into them, and the older ones for 35 millimeter are a little tricky because they have mounting. They have different mounts, and sometimes you need adapters to use these on newer cameras, digital cameras. So that's going to be the little bit of the learning curve if you start getting into 35 millimeter lenses, as this one is. It's an older one. But I will say fixed lenses usually go for a little bit more than adjustable lenses. And what I mean by that is that f20, the f number, the 28 millimeter. Um, if it's a fixed lens, it'll have one number. This one is 28. If it's an adjustable lens, usually kit lenses are like that. It'll say like 28 to 35, dash 35. Usually the fixed lenses are worth a little bit more because they're more for professional cameramen and things like that. So this sold for $99. Look out for Roker in any kind of lens. It's actually a pretty good lens. I mean, you're not going to get super crazy money on every one that you find, The most common one's probably going to be the 50 millimeter because that came stock with a lot of older cameras in the 70s and some of the 80s stuff. So name brands, of course, lenses are going to be doing better than like off brands. But once you get into lenses, you'll understand all that. As a matter of fact, I know I keep saying for God 2 years now I'm going to make a camera video about this old stuff, but maybe I'll get it to it in 2021. Next up, we have this telephoto lens lot. Now, speaking of lenses, don't get too excited when you see them in the thrift shops and garage sales. Um, some of them are I don't want to say worthless, but some of them are go between 10 and $20 a piece. Some of them are even less. Some of these telephoto lenses, as you can see here, this is basically all telephoto lenses. And when I was talking about in the last thing about adjustable lenses, let me see if I got a good photo of what I was saying by adjustable. I don't think I have a photo here of that. Here's one. Actually, here's a good photo. You see how it says 80 to 200 millimeter there in the center? That's an adjustable lens. These usually don't go for a ton of money, other than the fixed lenses. You want to look out for the fixed lenses. But anyways, this whole lot sold for $99. So that just shows you. I mean, technically, we could have sold these individually for like $10 to $20 each, but that's just a lot of work, and we're going to be sitting on these lenses. As a matter of fact, there's very, 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 very few people that use 35 millimeter film. These aren't digital lenses. These are film lenses, which means you have to put film in a camera. The old 35 millimeters. So if these were all digital lenses, that would be a whole other story. This would probably be a $300 or $400 lot. Fixed, not fixed, but 35 millimeter lenses. You have to have the right camera for the right lens, and it gets really, really, really complicated when you start digging into the ins and outs of 35 millimeters. So, anyways, I'll just leave it at that. But, anyways, keep a lookout for this stuff and definitely look each one of them up if you ever come across them. Next up, we have this 1991 vintage. This is a promotional watch from Levi's. As you can see here, it was nice enough to actually have the date on the front, 1991, and it was pre-owned and in really good condition, like mint condition for the age. And this sold. We took a best offer for like $25 on this. We didn't get the full $40, but we tried. And like I said, this kind of stuff is, you can find this stuff all the time, like in a lot of garage sales and estate sales and stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for promotional watches. They do pretty well. The bowl that we were talking about earlier in the video, and thanks for staying around. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, definitely go down there and click the like button. I would really appreciate that. Harvey's seatbelt bags. Some of you have heard of them, some of you have not, but definitely keep an eye out for these handbags that are made out of seatbelts, car seatbelts. Some of them go for a pretty crazy amount of money, and we're going to get to that in just a second. This one sold for $114 with a buy it now. Brand new. We did get a collection in of these, and finding these actually brand new anywhere is actually pretty hard to find unless you're in a retail environment. But finding these, at a state sale or garage sale brand new is going to be, you're probably going to find these used. And you can really tell, because, they're made out of seat belts. So it's pretty easy to spot if you ever see this out and about. This is another new one. This one sold for $150. And actually, this one is pre-owned with some slight wear. And I think this one is a larger one, so that's why it went for a little bit more. They did do some limited editions, so keep an eye out for that. The ones you really, 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 really want to look out for are the Disney ones, as we can see here. They've made stuff with Disney for many years. This 2013 D23, which is a convention Disney does every 2 years, but in 2013 they created this like wallet one, and there's also a couple handbags, and they're worth a pretty crazy amount of money. The Haunted Mansion ones still sell very well, and just look out for the Disney ones. Even if you can find these things used, they still go for a pretty good amount of money. So look out for Harvey's seatbelt bags, especially the Disney ones. Next up, we have, speaking of Disney, we have this rare Disney. This is a Beauty and the Beast Lumiere, and this is a pin. We've talked about Disney pins before in the past. Always look out for these. This one is kind of like a weird one. This was like, I think, a Disney store one that came out. I want to say this might have came out before like the whole pin craze in 2001. A lot of the pins that you're going to see now are from 2001 and further, and to recent dates. Now, Disney did do pins in the 80s and the 90s, but they weren't as, the whole the pin trading thing wasn't as huge as a success as it is now. So for the most part, if you find some of these older pins, just flip them over and it'll say like, see Disney, the copyright Disney thing on them, and they won't have usually any more information. But this is a really cool one. We did take a best offer for about $35 on this one. And this one is really highly collectible and very sought after. And we tried to get $60 for it, and we had tons of lowball offers on this, but We were happy enough to get $35 for this kind of rare Disney pin. So definitely look out for Disney pins. Once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. If you enjoyed this video, go down there and click the subscribe button, leave a comment, say hello, and we'll see you next time. Take care.